that.
2 minutes. So tonight there is.
Have you got a book?
Oh, I'm doing a good game tonight.
Hi Andrew, thanks very much for investigating this car. This is a 1929 Morris Minor 4-seat Tourer. Apparently there are only 9 of this model in the world on the road. I recovered the car when I was age 26 in Zambia, young and stupid, because you'll see for the state of the car as found, one has to be pretty mad to even think of it. Well, the car was originated in Umtali, southern Rhodesia, and after 10 owners, the last one drove it from what was Thoresby, now Harare, to northern Rhodesia to Kitwe, where it was pranged and abandoned in the bush on a small holding that she owned. She then moved to somewhere else and left all the bits and pieces of cars, and there was a guy who was basically a drunk selling scrap metal to keep his boozing habit going. I was looking for an old car to
A polite reminder that everyone who has booked their pie for the pie night, it's time to head for the marquee.
We'll delay the pies. Yes, so I found the car with a friend, and I said to this fellow, can I have the car? He said, yeah, take it away. Well, a few days later, after I had done some work on the car, it was a few weeks, I happened to mention to my friend, and he was working in a shop, I found out that a Mrs. Lang had the car because I saw I had the registration number, which I had followed up. Oh, there was a lady in the shop and said, oh, that belongs to Mrs. Lang, that's Rennie Lang in Robolts. I ran up to her factory office, I showed her some pictures of what I'd done, and she said, what have you got my car for? That old bastard, he was not allowed to do anything. Anyway, with all what you've done so far, you can have the car. Later on, she signed it over officially. And then for that, I started to restore the car, and by 1984, I had it as a running chassis, but because I didn't know what else to do. And I was headhunted to the UK, where I managed to outsource the bodywork and the upholstery, and completed the restoration in 1992, so 22 years later. I then worked around the world. We went to live in India, and the car sat. But after 2014, we decided that we wanted to live in Cape Town and in London. So that gave the idea that we should take the car to South Africa in 2019, because my dream was always to drive it over Victoria Falls Bridge. as it happened, COVID intervened. So by 2023, in March, I took the car up to Umtali, where I started the trip, because that's where the car was first registered, U750. By the time it got to Kitwe, it was NK3177. Today, DS99936 is an age-related plate issued for old cars with a proven provenance in the UK, which is a very nice touch. So I've owned the car for now 56 years. Today we drove it up from London, 174 miles, and here we are. Thank you very much.
Forward to seeing you tomorrow. Where's my little friend? He couldn't. He made my day.
Well, it's a 1935 two-seater. It was a saloon before I restored it, but I've tried to make it as original as original as I can. I can show you what the engine compartment's like. I've tried to keep it as original to the way it came out the factory. But it's all completely been restored. Every body panel's been remade. So new doors. There we are.
Is there anything else you want to say about it?
This,
It took 5 years to restore. It had to all be done from scratch. The chassis was absolutely rotten. It's all been I've had to re-weld all that.
Did you count the number of hours you put into it?
Oh, I didn't, but there'll be an awful lot of hours.
yes.
Well, 4 and a bit years, yes. Learned a lot about them from knowing nothing about
That's
them.
how much his wife had let him.
Exactly.
I didn't even ask you about the money.
I just don't know. Yeah, I've got no idea how
Ignorance
much it
is
stands for.
bliss.
Yeah.
You'll never make a profit.
And he drives it every Sunday. But he walks Sundays.
It was 1912 when the first Cunard coachworks was created in London. Cunard got a reputation for good quality bodywork and were taken up by Napier's and became the in-house coach builder. In fact, eventually Napier's bought them out, which wasn't a good idea because by 1926 Napier's collapsed, taking Cunard with them. Some years later, something like 1930-31, some of the directors of the original company decided to resurrect Cunard Coachworks and did so in Acton, North London. Now, having got the site, they then built up a palace of a manufacturing works and office block. This, of course, upset the finances. They no doubt were on the verge of bankruptcy when Stewart and Arden came in. And Stewart and Arden had been for many years the largest supplier of Morris cars in the London area. Stewart and Arden modified the way in which they worked and carried on for many years making body, but for only for trucks and vans and this sort of thing, finishing off in about 1970, I think, when they finally folded. The Morrises, of course, were the staple diet of Stewart and Arden. So when they took over in the 30s, Stewart and Arden were, of course, with their Morris connections, more interested in Morris bodies than anything else, and they started a line which was known as the Calshot series. Very few of these were made. 3 certainly were made on the minor, and there's signs of one being built on the major chassis in the big works. However, they did say that they made them for Rolls-Royce and for Daimler, but whether they did or not was maybe a little bit of a useful imagination. However, by 1934, Morris produced the 10.6 special chassis, which I'm leaning on one at the moment. And Cunard decided to make their style of body. Morris made a pseudo sports car, which was much derided. Cunard decided to make it into a sports tourer, and it was widely applauded. Difference being, of the 230 chassis produced by Morris, only about 30 had Cunard bodywork. This may be because you paid £230 for a Morris body, but £250 if you got a Cunard one. There were even more expensive ones. You could go to Jarvis and get a drop-head coupe for £293, but that's pushing it a bit. Not surprisingly, they only knocked out one. So, what's the difference? Cunard, well, it's got a taller windscreen for a start, which means you can actually see out. The Morris one, you have to peer out. If you're tall, it's a disaster. To help you, Morris put the windscreen wiper motor directly in front of the driver in order to damage his forehead in an accident. Cunard had a little more sense and put it down between his scuttle humps. However, it's very difficult to justify, even as an owner of now 56 years, why you would actually go out and buy the Cunard. Because the standard of trim was slightly less, and it's a tiny less easy to maintain, because Morris obviously did prototypes, whereas Cunard knocked them out and flogged them as fast as they could. There are times on this car it's driven me to distraction, actually trying to service something. There are a number of parts that you have to remove or slacken in order to just do a simple service activity. And heaven help you if you need to remove a bit of bodywork, because there's undoubtedly screws where you wouldn't expect screws to be. So, I like my Cunard. I say, I've had it for 56 years. There aren't very many of them. There are perhaps 5 or, well, there are definitely 5. There's a 6th one in bits, which may never become a complete car. How many are there of the Morris body? Well, total number that we know to have survived is 43, 2 of which are special saloon bodies, one of which is a drop-head coupe body. That leaves 40 less 6, so 34 Morris bodies, perhaps. Good survival rate? Well, yes, it's higher survival rate than many. But why? I've no idea. People just like them.
No seal at all, really.
All right.
Hey up. All right. Yeah. Just,
Rum route, very good. I take them off and go on.
Hello, I'm Stephen, and I bought this old car when I was 24 and I'm now in my 80s, but she's been with me all the time. When I first bought her, she needed a bit of attention, and and in the garage, and I used to go in the garage and come back. And my wife said, we ought to give the old girl a name. She says, no, I know what the name is. She says, you go in the garage, you come back and you're all Gracie. So we'll call it Gracie. Right, so it's a side valve engine, like that. Right, you'll notice I've got a coil conversion on instead of the magneto. But while I've had this old car, I've done a few miles. I've done the Pyrenees Mountains of Spain, and I've toured along the north coast of Spain. I've done the Rioja region. That was good. There was lots of wine on the Rioja region. And then we went down the Rhine, and I've done the south coast of the island, and we've done the mountains and islands of Scotland. We've done all sorts of things over the years, but now it's getting on a bit. But she's always been all right. Get about 28 to 30 miles to the gallon, and she's what they call a Doctor's Coupe, 1929 Doctor's Coupe. It's a Cowley car with an Oxford engine, which is quite a conversion a lot of people did. I've actually cheated. I've actually put a 4-speed box in, which you get out of a commercial vehicle, but that's a cheat. Round the other side, I'll show you. The Doctor's Coupe, you have a thing called a Doctor's Coupe. You have a dicky seat, and in the dicky seat, it's round the back here. The reason it's called a dicky seat is you have to be fairly poorly to actually go. You climb into it by putting your foot onto there, and then onto there, and then you climb in here. I've got the luggage in here at the moment, but you climb over there and climb in. But the problem is that the wind whips round there, and it's quite windy. It's very much an occasional seat. But she's been all right, and I've had her all these years, and she goes all right, no problem at all. That's about the end of my story, I think.
These have done loads of miles.
Nice, that one.
Yeah. Ready for August, and then there's a write-up towards the back in the regional section that explains the reason why we were at this National Trust property. But yes, they marry up with the registration number. I've had this 2 years. The man that had it before was an ex-AA patrolman, an old school man in his 80s, owned it for 10 years, and all the black paintwork is original, goes back 90 years. So, and if you'll see here, wow, so on that side and here, so on that side and here, you'll see raw metal. Crowd of people. Yeah, this is Mr. August. Okay, don't get excited. All right, this is the reason. If you were a member of the club, the Morris Register, that on that stand there is the magazine, and that is the latest magazine, and this is the car that's photographed on the front cover. Hello. So what it was, the previous owner, who had it for 10 years, at the start of the ownership, he had the Oxford glued up, but because this black is his original 90-year-old, he had a coat of lacquer. When they put the final coat on that, they blasted the roof with that to protect this. So modern day, they call that patina. Yeah, but that is raw metal on your side as well, madam. And it's because you grab to get in and grab to get out. That's your grab handle. But it worn all the paint away. So, Thank you. It's got a number on the other side, so if you've got an entry slip and you want to vote for it, please do. Thank you.
I've paid to come in. I'm not being paid.
I'm sorry. No, that's all right. But
Scooby in the back.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
He's on duty.
Don't know if it'll catch many criminals today.
Well, welcome to my 1936 MGSA saloon. This car was restored over a period of 3 years and was completed in 1999, and it took over 3,000 man hours to carry out the work. And I bought the car in 2009, and I've run it for about 10,000 miles in that period. It's very, very comfy. It's quite safe to drive. It's a bit heavy, but it's relatively luxurious for a pre-war car. And it has a 2.3 litre straight 6-cylinder engine, overhead valve, and this engine was completely restored during the restoration, and it's had one or two modern things fitted to it, like an oil cooler and electric fans to keep it cool on motorways. So it does about 20 miles to the gallon and allegedly has a top speed of 80 miles an hour, but I tend to cruise it at about 50 for safety. But a lovely car to drive and enjoy. A work of art in a lot of every door on the dashboard has got the marquetry matching. There's MG on every handle. There's about 25 MG logos throughout the car. Everything works, even the clock.
Oh, right, he's worried about his half shaft. It's a bit like people who've had hip replacements. The cars do worry about the half shaft. Okay, he has promised donuts just then, so I don't know where he's going to buy. Oh, the donut house. So everybody, and he's buying the donuts afterwards, if he does well. So help him do well. Oh, he got 2 points, just 2. Oh, there might be a judge.
The driver, 3 separate frisbees.
Oh. Your advisors in the back. You use your back seat drivers, or are you going to let them? Can't see the score from here. What we got the score? Oh, we got another nice tractor and trailer. Give him away. There you go. Oh, blimey.
Don't be a sussy, park up front.
Hi there everybody, this is my Morris Cowley 1928 flat nose. Bought it 5 years ago off one of the neighbours at a cost of £10,000. Don't use it that much, but try to get out to the Morris shows and you know, get involved with stuff and enjoy it really. But I've got several other cars, so I am thinking of selling it if maybe somebody's interested. But if not, we'll keep it. It's not a problem. So I can bring you around the front here and show you the engine, which is tucked away in here somewhere. As you can see, it's in pretty usable order. That's nice. Then we come round into the cab, and you can see that it has been retrimmed at some point, so it's looking pretty good. And then we come round into the back, into the dicky seat. Round to the rear, what you can see has been fitted with aftermarket lights, which has a indicator upgrade, which is obviously down for safety. So that's pretty much the car as we see.
Well, that was around about 29, 30 years ago when we bought it, and then we started stripping it down, and you can see the rust there, and the chassis itself was it had a gold seal engine with it, but it was seized up obviously, but we took it out, and the chassis was absolutely rotten, and hence we cut it up, took everything off it, and when I bought it, I got a brand new factory chassis which went with it, and because we took everything off and built it on there, and then somebody we knew nearby went up and did a lot of the shaping of the bodywork and the sills, because the sills were like angle iron on it, and it had been hit at the back, so it buckled the old chassis, and all this was filler, and we lifted the body up and the inner wings just fell apart, fell off, and then we started rebuilding it all on the chassis, the new chassis, made up new inner wings, and that's where it got hit in the back. The same fellow made that and put in the back, and he's a fellow called Dirty John. He had all these machines, but he was a very clever man, and I was living in a flat at the time, and this was in a little alleyway out the back, and I used to do all the little bits and pieces. That was the wife, she was taking all this stuff off to get ready for repairing the bottom of the doors. And that's just a silly photograph of me. And that was the sills almost finished, which apparently you can't buy for an E now. That's the old inner wings in so many different pieces. And the new piece he's made, which I gave him some tin foil, because I had a saloon at the time, and I wrapped it all around that part, and I took it over and gave it to him, and that's what he made, a left and a right. And that fitted up, and slowly taking place. That's out of sync, that one. But it took a long while to do it. The wife waving at her wonderful work she's been doing. Can't see what that is. It's just bits in the back of the van. The chassis slowly getting together. And that there. And we bought this the week after the London-Brighton run 29 years ago, and we started on it straight away. That's how we were working in the garden. That's just right back to the bare metal there. The wife again playing around. And then this was, we moved into a friend's lock-up that he let us go in there, and we used to go in every weekend, and the old boy himself. And the wife playing around with the grinder, and she did a bit of welding as well. And we got some comfortable front seats in it. That was outside in the cold. And then it was getting together and just coming up to I think, if I'm not mistaken, just about now, there it is, out on the road 11 months after we bought it. And we drove it round a couple of years like that in red oxide, and then had it painted the current colour.
Morris Isis, which was the top of the Morris range. It was their most expensive car they did. This is 1934. They made them from 1932 through to 1935. It's a 6-cylinder, 18 horsepower engine. Well, in its day it would have been thought powerful. Nowadays you probably wouldn't think it's powerful. It's in pretty much original condition. The engine is original. The interior is original. The paint is not. And I've owned it. We're currently going for 45 years.
And what was the story of your acquiring it?
I had a Morris 8 Tourer. I used to come to rallies, and I saw one at a rally, and not this one. And met a bloke called Paul, who had one in Wales, who he said, well, it's been in a container and I don't use it anymore. And would you like to come and look? And I went and looked and prized it out of his hands. And I've owned it since. And he always says if you could buy one back, this is the one you'd buy back.
And you didn't need to do anything other than paint?
We've done a bit of work on mechanical things, like Peter redid the clutch recently, but no, apart from paint, not a lot. Just the normal wear and tear, new tyres and things like that. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Graham Ryder. I'm chairman of the Wolsey Register. I've been so for a few years now. This is my Wolsey 1500, although I've had it for 21 years now. It's when it came to me, it already had a 1622 engine in it, and about 2012 it was needing a bit of attention. It got a hole appeared in the sills, so at that point I decided that we were going to sort of rebuild it and do some work to actually be able to tow the caravan that we've got here. It's quite a lightweight. It weighs about 800 kilos, and we tend to not sort of overload it when we take it away with the 1500. We did about 100 miles to get here over the weekend, so it'd be 100 miles back. So yeah, it's originally it was just single colour birch grey. It's now been, as part of the work I did on it, it's now in burgundy and birch grey, which is a period scheme for this age of vehicle, and was a dealer option. In order to tow the caravan, we put disc brakes on it and the servo, and I've upgraded the rear shock absorbers to telescopics rather than the lever arms that it had originally. It's also got an electric fan. That certainly helps with keeping it cool when it's working hard. The interior hasn't changed much. It's pretty much the original interior we got when we had the car, although at the moment the car's full of some of the regalia we've got for the weekend, but the seats haven't been recovered. There's a little bit of cosmetic work that needs to be done to the trim, and it had a new carpet set along with the wiring loom when I rebuilt it. So yes, it's one of the 7 1500s that I own. This is a Mark III. I've got 2 Mark 1s and 5 Mark IIIs. So you know, there's a bit of a choice there. They're not all on the road, but I aim to get another one on the road later this year. So that'll be the 3 1500s we have to choose from. But I've also got a Wolseley 8 and a Morris Minor 1953 split screen. So we use those all the while, really. You know, we get over to France with the Morris Minor each year, and this is probably going up to Scotland in a few weeks' time, and we'll be taking one of the others down to Cornwall. So yes, it's been lovely meeting you on the rally field, and there's a lot to discuss and see here. So I hope if some of your other friends might come along to a Morris Minor or a Morris Register rally, or even with a Wolseley.